Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. Today, a fascinating show. Andy's got the rundown.
Sam, this morning, a Nevada Newsmakers exclusive. Don Carlson with Survey Research Systems has surveyed the state, and the results this morning. Sam?
And to discuss the results of the poll, Chris Wicker and Joe Guild. It's all coming up next on the all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
The Abowed family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Catch a straight, dine at 8. Lucky you. Lucky you. Dance till 1. Have some fun. Lucky you. Lucky you. Taste the shrimp. Have a sip. Try the pool. Play it cool. At the Sienna Hotel Spa Casino. Lucky you.
The biggest risk your company can take.
Well, Barbara, you did very well on your interview.
Hiring employees can help your business get to the next level.
And your resume looks outstanding.
And it can also expose you to corporate crimes and costly lawsuits that can bring your company to its knees.
So, we'd like to offer you a position.
Before you hire another employee, hire the professionals at Employer Links. Call today to get our free CD-ROM, The Top 8 Risk of Hiring Employees.
If you own a business and want to maximize your company's potential, join the Retail Association of Nevada. Our membership benefits include the Nevada Retail Network Self-Insured Group, providing workers' compensation coverage that can lower your rates. That savings can go directly to your bottom line. We are an effective pro-business organization that lobbies on behalf of our business members. The Retail Association of Nevada, protecting Nevada businesses for 35 years. Call 882-1700 to see what we can do for your organization.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad, political analyst Ande Engleman on No Holds Barred Political Forum. Now, from the News 4 Broadcast Center, here's Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, Don Carlson is a very respected pollster and helps with lots of campaigns statewide, and has been a great resource for us on the program. And now you've produced our first Nevada Newsmakers poll.
Yes, sir.
And this polling was done over this last weekend, is that right?
Yes.
Friday night, Saturday, Sunday.
Yes.
And it ended Sunday night. You interviewed how many people in the state?
388 registered voters.
388 registered voters. Mm-hmm. And Republicans, Democrats, that was all in keeping with how they're registered to vote?
Yes, in essence, 41% of the sample is Republican, 40% is Democrat, and the balance is other party or nonpartisan.
Just like the registration is at
yes.
at Secretary of State's office.
Right. A sample of voters is like when you go to the doctor and the doctor sends you to the lab doesn't need all your blood, they just take a tube.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right, let's start out with question number 1.
Yes, sir.
In your opinion, what is the most pressing problem facing the United States today?
And the voters answered?
The Iraq War and is one, and the economy, government and politicians itself is 14%, and followed by education, healthcare, moral decline, tourism, illegal immigration, terrorism.
Yeah. All right, Don, this was done this last weekend, and we had some deaths occur in Iraq. What impact did that have on the answers, do you think?
Well, I think, having conducted surveys for 30-some years, events do influence what voters concern themselves with.
Okay, let me ask you, just right off the bat, that just 3% for legal immigration, and that with the $87 billion that the president has promised for the Iraqi war. Only 1% were concerned about the national debt. Can we go back to the first page so we can see the top items, please? Because these are just in almost non-entities there.
Right.
Iraq war is huge. Economy is still huge. What does this say to you in terms of President Bush's position? Because it's going to be the economy that makes a big difference.
Well, we're going to track this question for Nevada Newsmakers, and it will be interesting to see what the movement is from today to 3 or 4 months from now. If the economy improves, I would speculate that number will drop. If the Iraq war is, the situation there is somehow worsened, I think it will increase. Or if it somehow is improved, I think it will decrease. This is a dynamic. This is an interaction. And this is a snapshot, an attitudinal snapshot now, and let's see what it looks like 3 or 4 months from now.
Were you surprised that healthcare was so low?
Yes, in some ways, but there is a perception that Congress is making some progress on that front.
I'm astounded that government politicians is number 3rd. What kind of response is that, Don? What does this say to you about politicians and government?
Well, I think in Nevada in particular, this has not been a good year for politicians, starting with the legislative session and then the post-legislative session news. I think if you look at government and politicians here as the 3rd issue, I think it's very linked to voters' perception on the second question. If you want to go to the second
question. Let's do that.
All right, do you feel the federal government is overall best described as the government of Washington, as our government, or undecided?
This is a standard question that I put in almost every survey, whether it is a survey of local voters about local matters, or state voters about state matters, or state voters about federal matters. There is a continuing pattern that people feel government is not their government. It is out there, some entity that they have very little relation with.
And they feel disaffected from it,
yes. And the federal question gathers probably 10, 12 points, of people feeling more disaffected than state or local government. But many local governments are at 50%.
Okay, on the previous question, when we talked about government politicians, you said it was linked, but this also includes people's feelings about local politicians and...
Oh, yes.
And so the indictments, the FBI indictments played into this, is that correct?
I would suggest all of the double dipping, all the news, what I call post-legislative news about some of Nevada's politicians contributed to this.
And that would be one reason why that was so high on that list.
Yes.
Okay, let's move on to number 3. How would you rate the job performance of George Bush as president? Excellent through very poor to undecided. Anything surprise you about these numbers?
Well, one of the things that I would like to note that the Democrats are 24% positive and 50% negative, with 26% undecided. And the Republicans are 81% positive and 12% negative and 7% undecided. So I see kind of, a party alignment here to some degree.
And no surprise on that. Okay, let's take a break. We'll come right back with more on our Nevada Newsmakers poll with Don Carlson after this time out.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, voted Reno's best buffet by locals year after year. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch. Atlantis.
Would you like to savor a Trento pork chop? Or maybe pasta rags with grilled chicken? Hugo's Tuscan Grill at D'Andrea is a celebration of color, flavor, and freshness. Each dish is created from natural, wholesome foods that is delicious and nutritious. Hugo's is a comfortable restaurant with breathtaking city views. If you enjoy great food and good company, visit us here at Hugo's. It's the best that dining can be. 2900 South D'Andrea Parkway in Sparks.
Welcome to Sushi Club, best sushi in town. The Sushi Club in Independence Square used the best quality products. The sushi is dynamite, and the service is just wonderful.
The Sushi Club is bigger and better. We have 11 sushi chefs on staff, and the service is great.
All your friends will tell you that Sushi Club is the best place for the best sushi.
Come join us for lunch or dinner.
The Sushi Club, 294 East Moana Lane in the Independence Square.
Now that's great sushi.
To experience the royal cuisine of India, you need some serious magic or simply transport yourself to India Garden, right here in Reno, where you'll discover Indian specialties refined over centuries. Sikh kebab, tandoori dishes cooked in our own tandoor oven, biryani specialties, curries, fresh-baked Indian bread, over a dozen vegetarian dishes, even dishes rare to India like dosa, South Indian-style crepes. India Garden off South Virginia near Sports West. We are India.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
Back on Nevada Newsmakers, pollster Don Carlson has put together the first poll for Nevada Newsmakers. And the next couple of questions here both deal with governor's choices, even though the...
No, I think you skipped 4.
I'm sorry. Oh, I beg your pardon. Yes, indeed I did. Let's move on to that one then. The number 4 question is, today, would you vote to re-elect George Bush president, or would you consider voting for someone else, or would you definitely vote to replace him? And the numbers here are quite interesting.
Yes, the one way to interpret this, if you will, we're going to have an expensive struggle. Over 18% of the registered voters, because 41 to 41 have basically locked in to either re-elect or to oppose.
And so this shows our state relatively split, so that leaves people fighting over the 18% who would consider someone else and the undecided. And what's interesting about this is that USA Today, CNN did a poll over the weekend, and it nationally on this same question, and it mirrors Nevada. It came out the same nationally as we are here in Nevada. I found that fascinating.
And of course, in March, April, when I'm probably going to be back in the field, these numbers may change.
Right.
And in part, they may change because of events that the president can or cannot control.
And we'll be able to show the public how, as events change, their feelings towards the president change.
And I would also speculate in March, April, we will know who the Democrat nominee is going to be.
Oh, okay.
You mean it's not Howard Dean? Okay.
Let's go to the gubernatorial.
Okay, so let's take a look here. Even though the next governor's election is not until 2006, for whom would you vote if the following Democrats were candidates for this party's nomination?
Now this, you polled Democrats only.
Yes.
Okay, answered this question. Okay.
And these are not all announced candidates. I mean, Oscar Goodman is not announced to be
Correct.
running
Yeah.
for governor,
Correct.
but he clearly would be the big winner or the big leader at this point.
Right, and let's clarify that we're talking about Jim Gibson, who is the mayor of Henderson. You know, this is going to get very confusing if we have Jim Gibbons running against Jim Gibson.
Right.
But that's who that is talking to. And I presume that most of these responses came from Clark County. I mean, I see this large undecided, and I'll bet a lot of that is northern Nevada, because all of these people are from Las Vegas.
Well, 70% of the Democrats reside in Clark, and 18% reside in Washoe, and 12% reside in rural Nevada.
Okay.
And so Oscar does have some benefit relative to those demographics. And yes, all 4 of these are Southern candidates, and there is a greater undecided relative to these 4 people in rural and Washoe.
I'm astounded at Jim Titus's high number.
However, in Clark, Mayor Goodman really dominates this field.
Okay, and do we have any suspicion that he might want to give up the best job in the world to become governor?
I would never try to speak for Oscar Goodman.
Okay, let's move on to the next question then. Would you vote for Congressman Jim Gibbons to be the Republican nominee for governor in 2006, or would you consider voting for someone else, or would you definitely vote for another Republican candidate? So,
and this was asked of Republicans only.
Right. So we take a look here, and it's 50% for Gibbons. Another Republican would be at 15%, someone else at 14%, undecided 21%. So that's a pretty big undecided number there.
Well, this question, like the previous question, are what I'm going to track for Nevada Newsmakers for approximately 30 years, and we'll see the movement and so forth. Gibbons is very strong in rural and Washoe, and if he has a weak spot, it is in Clark. And of course, 60% of the Republicans reside in Clark, 23% of the Republicans reside in Washoe, and 17% reside in rural Nevada. But I would believe that at this point, Gibbons has a good base to start from.
And plus, he has his initiative for education that he's going to be running, which will give him a lot of visibility down in Southern Nevada as well.
Right.
Okay, we have about a minute left for our 7th and final question here. Do you agree or disagree with the proposed petition that would require a public employee to resign his or her public position while serving in the Nevada legislature? Strongly agree, somewhat disagree, strongly disagree, or undecided?
One of the things that I would like to inform the
Excuse me. All right, come on, please.
One of the things I'd like to inform the viewer of is that 62% of the registered voters are private sector employed or private sector retired, while 29% are public sector employed or public sector retired. And the remaining 9 are homemaker students and so forth.
Okay, and in your poll, what percentage of the people polled is public sector?
Yes.
Was 29%?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Presently employed in the public sector or retired public sector.
Okay, you know, this is very strong that people don't want these conflicts of interest. People want them to choose one job over the other. I mean, you're really talking 60% here that don't want to see public employees holding down 2 jobs at the same time.
Well, there's another way to
There's
another way to interpret the strongly agree and the strongly disagree. Those respondents are not going to move. So if this petition is on the ballot, the struggle will be over the people who are somewhat agree or disagree and the undecided.
Okay, so each side will be battling to get those votes to move.
Yes.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back and we'll be joined by our pundit panel, and Dawn, you'll join us as well. And let's see if we can get some more analysis on this. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers with the results of our first poll.
Before you head to Carson, take care of yourself with a visit to Tamarack Junction. Catch a hot cup of coffee and the morning news on one of our 32 TVs and enjoy the best food in South Reno. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
The Abowed family has an appetite for dialogue. Agree or disagree, have the conversation. All opinions are welcome. Since 1977, Adele's.
Your home is an expression of all things comforting and familiar. For custom storage, you can count on California Closets to provide quality, value, and design integrity. The process is easy, combining your personal style with our organizing expertise. We care about what matters most to you, making your home functional and beautiful. California Closets, simplifying home and life since 1978. Call today for your complimentary design consultation.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Make your daily commute easy with breakfast or lunch at the Tamarack Junction. Enjoy daily specials, super fast service, and South Reno's freshest morning meals. Tamarack Junction, your junction for fun. South Virginia and Amati Ranch Parkway.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad and Ande Engleman.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, Don Carlson is joined by Joe Guild and Chris Wicker here on the pundit panel to take a look at some of these questions and what their thoughts are. What's the thing that strikes you, Chris, the most?
Well, I think 2 things really jump out at me. Number one is it's no surprise that the Iraq War and the economy are the 2 most pressing problems. I mean, the economy has come to be a shambles under the Bush administration. And the Iraq War has demonstrated that the Bush administration was totally inept in planning for after the victory. I mean, everybody knew the victory would be obtained in Iraq, but they didn't plan for it. The second thing that comes to mind is that I was recently reading an article in The Economist, an English paper, and the story they had was that George Bush ran as the politician that was going to bring the country together. And it turns out he's the most divisive president in many decades. You look at these numbers in Nevada on re-elect, it's 41-41, and that's mirrored across the country. George Bush, because of what he's done, he appeals to his base and dumps on the Democrats and dumps on the independents. So he's the most divisive president, and I think this poll shows this.
Joe, you might have a response to that.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly. Number one, you look at three presidents come to mind: Clinton, Nixon, and Reagan. All at this stage in their presidency had similar numbers and had a base of very negative base against them. So I think the story remains to be told on the Bush, on how Bush does. And the economy is coming back. I disagree with Chris on that. One thing that really strikes me about the poll, though, as an independent observer of Nevada politics for a long time, and I have to disagree with something Don Carlson said, is the Gibbons numbers. Gibbons is strong at 50%. I don't think just in Washoe and rural, Washoe County and rural Nevada. Remember, most of his voters in his district live in Clark County, about 2/3 of them. So if this was a statewide poll, I think Gibbons has a huge base, and I put him to be the odds-on favorite. I don't care of which of these Democrats would run against him.
Don, you want to respond to that?
Well, I think it's early, one, but
I agree with that.
Clark County still is more undecided about the Gibbons question, if you will, than rural or Washoe counties.
I think, it begs to be pointed out that in the press down in southern Nevada, Jim Gibbons does not get nearly the coverage he does in northern Nevada. So I think that might be reflected in these poll numbers as well.
It isn't for lack of trying, though. I get 10 press releases a day from the Gibbons office. So.
I don't get one.
One other thing I'd like to say about this poll is the question number 2, which I think reflects the average voters' disassociation with their government. It's not my government anymore. It's Washington, or it's the Washoe County Commission. How can it be
when the lowest number they have is $10 million? How can the average person in any state relate to an organization that is talking in billions and trillions of dollars?
Well, exactly.
We can't relate to that.
Well, maybe Don can answer this question. I don't know, but my guess is that hasn't changed much over time. I would guess over decades that hasn't changed much.
But what I'm seeing, which I find disturbing, is that this number keeps climbing when you ask the question about local government or state government.
And people are feeling more disassociated from their government at every level, in other words.
Yes.
Yeah,
they feel they have no control.
My senior in high school daughter just told me the most boring class, and she's taking honors classes in every subject, is government. And why? Because I think the government teacher is just spouting off. Instead of having the kids in that class participate in a governmental exercise, it's a lecture. They don't know how to be participatory, democratic with a small d people anymore.
Well, I wonder if these numbers, I wonder how many people that feel disassociated are also people that don't vote, because we all know we have a huge proportion of people that don't vote.
Let Don answer that.
Well, in the polling, this universe were registered voters. Down the road here, when I start to track on certain things, I may sample from the universe of voters that have voted in the primary or voted in the general.
That would be
but you find even people who routinely vote feel more and more disaffected, that they are a part from, not a part of. This is a major issue for people who are mayors, governors, or in public life.
All right, so I always like to look at the cup half full. So who does this open up opportunity for?
I guess Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, I think that's exactly
for decisive, honest, forthright politicians. Arnold Schwarzenegger, somebody who says, I'm going to do something, and then does it.
Don?
I believe the best advice for a would-be candidate is to be candid, and don't worry if they agree or disagree, because so many are not candid that you will be different. And people may vote for you, probably will vote for you because they understand where you're coming from.
And if you're a public employee, plan on quitting your job if you get elected.
Andy, I have to agree. I was shocked at these numbers on that initiative. And frankly, I think it's what I was concerned about, that at first impression, well, yeah, maybe there is a conflict, but I disagree with your assumption that there is a conflict. And I think it's an issue that people need to be given the facts on to really make a decision, because the first impression does concern me, gives these kind of responses.
May I make an observation about this question?
Quickly.
I think it's going to be fascinating if this petition is on the ballot in 04, and also on the ballot are numerous public employees running for re-election or election.
Oh. True.
Well, and I think the point that is being made here, and it comes back to my old marketing concept here, is, Arnold Schwarzenegger was a very marketable commodity, and despite the morals allegations against him, was able to overcome that. This goes back to Ronald Reagan days, when he grabbed a hold of that microphone and said, "I paid for this microphone, Mr. So-and-so," in New Hampshire, and ended up, showing leadership, even in a small way like that.
Well, remember,
people love to see
Ronald
leadership.
Reagan voted or decided to raise taxes in California right after he became governor.
And we may see the same thing with Schwarzenegger. We'll be right back after this time out.
It's America's largest historical district, and it's fun for the entire family. Virginia City is where the West comes alive every day, from train rides to gunslingers. Your gang can explore mines and interesting museums, visit historic saloons, and do some great shopping. Virginia City is the ultimate in family entertainment, and it's very affordable. Come up and stay overnight in our hotels, motels, and RV park. Virginia City, the Wild West at its best.
Atlantis is cooking up a party. It's every diner's paradise. Toucan Charlie's Buffet and Grill, voted Reno's best buffet by locals year after year. Experience the Mongolian barbecue, new Asian station, and sumptuous exhibition stations filled with fresh entrees, salads, and desserts. Try the Friday night seafood buffet and Sunday champagne brunch. Atlantis.
When you sign up for Wells Fargo free checking, you get more than free checking. You get the freedom to bank when and where you want. Wells Fargo, the next stage.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by Charter Communication.
Okay, what was the most interesting thing to you in the poll?
Well, obviously the feeling about not just public employees, but the feeling about elected officials, the negative, the fact that would come number 3 as a major issue facing them.
Okay, and we'll be back tomorrow on Nevada Newsmakers. Thanks to Don Carlson.
Thank you for watching.